I'm TonyL from the Maine Ghost Hunters, and this is TJ, and we are going to build a ghost spot. We are going to use a device we purchased from Radio Shack. This is a Radio Shack AM/FM shortwave travel radio. Catalog number is 20-125. So again, this is model 20-125. 20-125. We don't need those instruction manuals, but we're not going to use it the way it's designed to be used. So here's the device. It comes out of the package in this bubble wrap, in this box, with this piece of cardboard in there, and this manual. It has a lanyard attached to it, and an extendable antenna. On the back, you can see there are 1, 2, 3 screws. Underneath here, which looks like a little stand for holding the radio up, there are no screws. And inside the battery cover, there are no screws. So we just need to remove those 3 screws, and then we'll pop the bag off. We're going to use the handy dandy Stanley precision screwdriver set. We're going to take the largest of the screwdrivers that are in here, Phillips head. We're going to undo screw number 1. There it is. Put it on the napkin so it doesn't roll away. Undo screw number 2. And just leave that there. I'm going to remove the battery cover. Get a flathead screwdriver for prying this apart. Looks like I might have to take this screw out. So let's take it back out again. There we go. And then just going to pull the antenna out of the case. Wedge the flathead screwdriver in between the creases. There we go. You need to be gentle but firm, and it will come apart. But you need to be careful because there are wires attached in here. Just like all the other devices, there's a wire going off the antenna there. Then you don't want to break the wire, because if you do, you will need to solder it back together. I'm just going to continue to take the thing apart. Just need to be very careful because you can break things. So we have the front, the back, and the middle piece. So now what we need to do is determine where in here is the mute wire that needs to be cut. So now that we have it into 3 pieces, we need to remove this board from the back of the radio. We do that by removing this 1 screw right here, and then it's held in place by this plastic clip. So we have it apart. We are actually going to be working with the front piece. This is the piece that's underneath the panel here with the buttons. So we took it apart a little further than we needed to, but this panel just pops right off with these 2 little clips. The ribbon we're going to work with is right down inside here, this ribbon. What we're going to do is very carefully turn this up, because we want to be able to get to this ribbon inside here. We need to get to the ribbon on the board. It's identified with an MU next to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wires from this side. So if you're looking straight on, there will be 7 wires to the right from the left side of the device. We're going to attempt to get to that wire so that we can cut it. Can you hold that flashlight for me, please? So we want to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 MUs. Make sure we have the right one. I'm going to use some tweezers to start with, so I can try and expose the wire itself, because it should be pretty easy to break, pretty easy to cut. Just trying to expose and get rid of some of the hot glue that they use to try and hold this thing in place. We don't want to remove it all because we still want it to be held in place, but we do want to break the wire. So I removed some of the glue, and I'm going to use my little pocket knife with the blade on it and see if I can poke it down through and separate this wire. Peel back a little bit of the plastic and then we'll snip it off with some nail clippers basically, so we can make sure that it won't reattach itself. And there we go. And there's the wire. I can feel it with the edge of my knife. I'm just going to take some nail clippers. Oops. I'm going to clip it back just a little bit so we can make sure that it will not touch anything and will not be able to make a connection again. And there we go. The mute wire has been clipped. So now I'm just going to reassemble it. I'm going to rest the button up inside. And the second button, rest that up inside. I'll line them up, poke the buttons out through the little hole. Fairly easy, but a little. There we go. And there it is. So those two buttons are back in place. One is for the light and one is for, I think, changing the band. I'm going to place the top piece back onto the top of the device. Now this lays right on the top here, and if you zoom in here, you can see these little tabs with little holes in them. And if you look on the front of the case, there's these little notches. Those little notches sit right in there, and then it hinges down into place. You just slide it right up here, put the little notches in, 1, 2, come on, and then pop it right down over the rest of the case, like that. Snaps into place. We have one screw we took out on the back here we need to put back in. Little tiny screw. It's the small one of them all. And it just holds this board. It's right back in there. It just holds this board securely onto the plastic centerpiece. And then this last piece is the back, and it goes on the same way. Put the little notches in the slots. Snap it down over. Put the antenna screw back in. So now we are putting the antenna screw back in. It's all nice and secured again. And now we just have 3 remaining screws to replace to hold the back. And these screws are nice and long. What these screws do is they go all the way through from the back to the front piece and just hold it all together. Make sure they're all nice and tight so it doesn't rattle apart. And we are done so far with the work. Now it looks just like any old AM/FM 20-125 radio from Radio Shack, except it's actually a ghost box. So far I'll ask my lovely assistant to get me 3 AA batteries. We will put this device back together and see if we can make it run.